Guys, good evening. Hi, hope everybody's doing really well. Brought back for another video. This is a response to James Griffiths' wonderful thread video that he started last week, which is Turn It Up, songs that demand to be heard loud. Okay, so yeah, I've seen a couple of videos already on this subject. I mean, obviously, immediately sort of brings to mind heavy rock or like metal, etc., etc. I guess those genres of music that definitely demand to have the amp cranked up to 11. But yeah, so I could have picked a, I don't know. I mean, once I saw this thread go up, immediately I thought of two or three dozen songs that could be included. Obviously, that's not practical or in the rules to show that many. So I think James has limited us to 10. So here we go. I'm just going to rattle through these fairly quickly. Yeah, I'd like to start off with a couple of honourable mentions that could very easily have made this list, but didn't quite. So the first one is the wonderful Slade album from 1972, absolute classic glam rock classic. Yeah, I mean anything of Slade's output from kind of 71 onwards could quite easily make this list, sort of crunching riffs and so on, and obviously Noddy's amazingly powerful raspy vocals. But the song I'm going for is the wonderful Mama We're All Crazy Now, particularly the riff at the start as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I could have picked any one of the songs on this album. They're all definitely very worthy. Okay, and the second honourable mention goes to this, which is a classic from my childhood that was a favourite of mine and my brother's, Sweet Fanny Adams. Wonderful debut album from Sweet, 1974. Track I'm going for is Sweet FA. Absolutely fantastic power rock song. Just, yeah, a real forerunner of kind of the metal that was to kind of come afterwards, but just wonderful harmonies. The way it just comes in is just, the energy is just incredible. But yeah, fantastic record, and ahead of its time, in my opinion. Okay, so let's start the list proper. Okay, so James showed probably one of my all-time favorite albums and tracks, and certainly my favorite by the group. That was Queen and Sheer Heart Attack, and he went for In the Lap of the Gods Revisited. But this one definitely comes a close second, and I'm going for Father to Son from their second album, Queen 2. Okay, and yeah, I mean, obviously, so you've got the kind of funereal procession that starts with, obviously Roger Taylor's kind of ominous kind of kick drum beat, and Brian May's economical guitar, and then sort of blasting into Father to Son. It just leaps out the speakers. It's absolutely fantastic, and doesn't let up for about 6 minutes. So fantastic song, and beautiful segue into White Queen as well. But that could be another video. Fantastic segues. So there you go. Wonderful stuff. Okay. Next one is this was actually the first album proper I heard by Led Zeppelin. This is Physical Graffiti. So I'd heard like obviously various tracks like Stairway to Heaven and Whole Lot of Love and so on. Obviously, yeah, riff-tastic. The Meister that is Jimmy Page. But yeah, the song I'm going for on here that I just have to turn up is Kashmir. Just that relentless, just multi-track guitar, bowed guitar. I think he's bowing the guitar on that, is he? I think. But it's just absolutely just fantastic. Possibly the greatest orchestrated rock song of all time, arguably. But yeah, wonderful stuff. Sampled many times, but never bettered. So that's the wonderful Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. Okay, and fantastic bit of rock and roll here. What a way to kick off an album. And yeah, just absolutely have to crank this one up to 10. This is the wonderful Motherhood, and the last album with Ian Hunter, probably my favourite, and obviously the song that kicks it off, Golden Age of Rock and Roll, just with those wonderful soul-y backing singers kind of at the beginning, and then the ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Age of Rock and Roll, and then you just hear Ian Hunter kick off, and yeah, you know you're in for an absolute ride of your life. And yes, that has to be cranked up to 11. So yeah, Golden Age of Rock and Roll from Motherhood. Okay, next one, album I showed in my finds video. In terms of acoustic rock and heaviness, it doesn't come much better than this. And this is probably about the heaviest he ever got. This is Michael Chapman and the fantastic song off his first album, Rainmaker, It Didn't Work Out. Yeah, in terms of an acoustic song that rocks, there's few that kind of can better the energy and power of this. It's absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend anybody give that a listen. Yeah, it's a definite favourite of mine. So wonderful, late great Michael Chapman, and It Didn't Work Out. Okay, a bit more left field here, but still a popular one. I absolutely love this record, but particularly the track Hallelujah. And this is Tencc and Margot. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's just a whole side of a record, and it just starts and doesn't let up really for, I don't know, what is it, 18 minutes, whatever it is. It's just a relentless groove, incredible drumming, like of which has rarely been repeated. Absolutely just fantastic song. Again, much copied, but never bettered. So that's Can and the wonderful Hallelujah from Tencc. Okay, keeping in the kind of psychedelic vein, this is a wonderful psychedelic piece, highly sort of well, I wouldn't say orchestrated, but it's very, very well produced. Sounds massive through the speakers and definitely deserves to be turned up. This is the Chocolate Watch Band, and the wonderful track, Voyage of the Trieste, from their second album. Their first album's very, very garage, short, punchy tracks. The first side of this record, by all accounts, they didn't have anything to do with at all in terms of being in the studio. I think it was all played by session musicians, but the record is all the better for it, in my opinion. Just Voyage of the Trieste is just an instrumental with this wonderful chiming electric guitar motif with tons of reverb, and it just absolutely, it's like something just being played from a mountaintop. It's just amazing, absolutely incredible oral experience, and definitely has to be given the extreme volume treatment. So yeah, that's Voyage of the Trieste from the Inner Mystique by the Chocolate Watch Band. Okay, next one is an 80s classic. I showed this album a little while back. I was lucky enough to pick up a 30th anniversary copy of it. It's one of my favourite albums of the 80s, and that's Soul Mining so the wonderful Matt Johnson. And the track I'm going from here is Uncertain Smile. That wonderful 12-string guitar and rhythm going through it. Fantastic song. And the album version, which was very different to the single version, me and my brother differ quite a lot on that. He always prefers the single version, but I just love the Jools Holland piano solo on this. It's just one of the greatest piano solos, certainly I've ever heard anyway. I just have to crank up the volume whenever I play this. So yeah, 6 minutes of utter bliss. Okay, just a few more to go now. This one, a real favourite band of mine. I couldn't quite decide on which track I'd turn up. I just tend to turn up the whole album, but this is Tencc and How Dare You. And certainly the title track, the instrumental that starts it, deserves cranking up because it's just so dynamic. You've got the gizmo going on and this kind of almost like Indian sitar kind of motif going, with all these weird percussion instruments, incredibly rhythmic, very ebullient, upbeat. A real favourite of mine. So that's the title track, How Dare You, from Tencc. Okay, just missing the top spot for me. Not that these are in any particular order because I love them all, but definitely a favourite. My list wouldn't be complete without showing some Roy, it's the live version of Highway Blues from 1974's live album, Flashes from the Archives of Oblivion. The version is wonderful on the studio album Life Mask, but a year later he performed this live, I think at Warwick University. And wonderful production by John Leckie, and just loads of echoplex on his acoustic guitar, and he's just screaming it out, and it's just absolutely wonderful. Euphoric vocals, absolutely superb. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Roy Harper. Okay, and this is not really my number one, but I guess it could be quite easily. I absolutely have to turn this up. There's lots of 3-minute pop songs that could be turned up and blasted out. Particularly from the sort of punk and new wave era. This one, I just think, is just the most joyful and just upbeat song that I've got in my collection, and I have to absolutely turn this up every time. And this is the Tourists' wonderful Reality Effect album from 1979, and it's the last track on side one, and it's just wonderful. It's so good to be back home again. Absolutely love this song, and it's so simple, catchy, wonderful harmonies, just a fantastic performance, vocal performance from Annie Lennox, and absolutely just has to be blasted from the rooftops every single time. So that's the Tourists, and so good to be back home again. Okay, guys, so that's it. Fairly quick one. Hope you're all having a great weekend. I did get a Benz today, pick up just a couple, 2 or 3 records. May get around to showing that tomorrow. If not, that'll be kind of early part of next week. I might have 1 or 2 other bits to show as well, which are non-vinyl. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, guys, cheers. All the best. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.